Current regulatory expectation regarding the number of PPQ batches. So, from the FDA, previous credible experience with similar products and processes can be used, but also recommend the use of statistical analysis or an EMA. The number of batches depends on the complexity of the process, level of process variability, process knowledge, frequency, and causes of deviations and batch failures. Health Canada mentions 3 batches as acceptable. Japan PMDA mentions 3 batches as acceptable. GHTF. The challenges should be repeated enough times to ensure that the results are meaningful and consistent. So again, there's no magic number. Some people say 3 batches are good. Others depends on the level of complexity of your process. So each firm, each company will come up with their appropriate guidelines and more likely talk to the FDA or whatever regulatory agency they're dealing with to come up with a good path forward for their PPQ batch number. So again, this is a high-level overview of PPQ and determining how many batches you should do. So it's a combination of your product knowledge, your process understanding, and your manufacturing experience. Helps you determine the overall risk level and robustness of your control strategy, which translates into residual risk and your number of PPQ batches. You can establish statistical confidence if needed, and then you go into your PPQ campaign when that's decided. So again, all this helps you decide how many PPQ batches you need to have. So process risk versus number of batches. So this graph also helps you dictate, okay, let's look at my process risk. If you have a minimal or low risk process, then maybe 1 PPQ batch is enough. If you have a medium, then maybe 3, and then high 5. So minimal or low 1, author's perspective, revalidation or supplemental validation, maybe validation due to minor changes in the process after original PPQ. So really, if you're only going to do 1 PPQ batch, that means you've already done your original PPQ, maybe 3 or more batches. And if you need to revalidate, you can just do 1 to prove that your change that you're doing, that you're in a steady control. So that should be the only reason why you do 1, is if you've gone through the process already and you're doing a change. So medium risk 3. So this is a common approach to original PPQ and likely to be accepted if product knowledge, process understanding are adequate and manufacturing experience is gained. Maybe using revalidation or supplemental validation if significant changes have occurred. So 3 batches for a new process, and also if you revalidate and make changes and it's considered medium, you might have to do 3 more in order to prove that you are in a steady control with that change. And then high risk 5 is a rare approach. So not many people do 5 batches, but it may be appropriate for a high risk process. So again, 3 is considered that medium good number, but if you have a high risk manufacturing process, 5 might be necessary. So to statistical analysis, 3 batches chosen arbitrarily is not statistically significant. Using 95% confidence level and 95% reliability, it would require 60 batches, but that's not practical or cost effective. So this is pretty much saying that the 3 batch rule was chosen arbitrarily, but it's not statistically significant, as in 3 batches doesn't really give you a real snapshot, or it's not really telling me that you're in steady control. Ideally, it would be 60 batches, but that's not practical because doing 60 PPQ batches, that's a lot of money invested. It can be very expensive, and you're not getting a return from your investment because you're not ultimately able to sell those batches. So it could be cost effective and it's not practical. So 3, it's a magic number, but again, it's not really significant. But it's one of those things where if you can start off with 3, maybe 5, but 60 is way out of, it's not effective at all. And that is the end of this lecture. Thank you again.